Hey, it's Justin Kennington with SDVoE, and today I'm joined by Tim Albright.
Hi, this is Tim Albright from AVNation on the show floor of ISE 2022 with Justin Kennington from SDVoE. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well.
This is fun. Who's interviewing who here today?
Well, I think that was the whole point, right? When we did the preview, we're interviewing each other on our own platforms at the exact same time.
Didn't we agree to only ask questions?
Yes, I believe you may be correct there, although I've already screwed that up.
Yeah.
All right. How's the show been for you?
I've seen it mostly from this couch.
I understand Hall 5.
In the front of Hall 5. But we've had a lot of fun. I have to say, I think you know this about me personally, that I've become a hermit. That I've moved to the edge of the world, and I live on a small island where there's no one else to look at or see but my own family, and I don't get out at all because I thought I was done with that.
Yeah.
But then they dragged me out, they threw me on an airplane, they put me here, and honestly, in truth, and I don't regret it, but it's really fun to be back into it, right? To just kind of be back in the mix. You forget how much real humans are better than Zoom.
Well, and there's also an energy. I mean, this is nothing new. I've said this 1,000 times. I went to CES, I went to NAB, and now I'm here at ISE. And the electricity, the busyness has gotten progressively better. CES was a ghost town, relatively speaking. I'm not speaking ill of that show, but there were very few people there.
It was early days of coming out of this thing.
Yeah, and this show, from the halls 1 to hall 7, seems to be bustling at least, and this is on day 3.
Yeah, this is a new venue for us, so we don't have experience knowing what it should feel like. But I have to say this place is huge, and so the fact that it doesn't feel empty tells me, gee, there's a lot of people here.
Absolutely, and it's if you walk up and down the halls, one of the hallmarks and one of the gauges you use is how easy is it to get through the halls, right? How easy is it to get lunch? Yesterday and the day before was very difficult to get lunch in that 11 to 1 o'clock time, 2 o'clock time frame. It is a little difficult to get a taxi at the end of the day. So those are from a show organizer standpoint, those are good signs, right?
Yeah.
Now they do need to figure that part out, but I think it's a good venue. I will be interested to see what the vendors, what you guys think of it, post-mortem, 2-3 weeks after the fact.
Yeah, I will say though, I don't want to be a complainer, but one of our key metrics for a show like this is how many badge scans do we get, right? Presumably that reflects the level of traffic at our booth and the interest. These digital-only badges are killing me, right? So, the conversation used to go, may I please scan your badge? Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Now it's, would you mind getting your phone out, unlocking the device, opening the ISE app, clicking on the button that it displays your badge, and then showing that to me? And very often, for reasons that I understand, the answer is no, thank you. So I understand the COVID driving of it. I understand the green driving of it. But I think we need a better solution than this from an exhibitor perspective.
And honestly, from an attendee standpoint, there is an ease of having a badge, especially after the first day. Like once you get your badge, there's an ease of entering the venue. There's an ease of doing that and coming back in the second and third day when you don't have to take out your phone. You're right.
Not to mention the old, hey, it's good to see you again.
Who are you?
Tim.
Yes, because I haven't seen anybody in 2 years, and I've been a hermit. So, what are you guys talking about this year or this show?
SDVoE is sustainable, flexible, and available.
So what does sustainable mean?
Well, sustainable, obviously sustainable means sustainable, but the reason we bring that up is because I think it's a trend and importance that's moving its way into Pro AV, right? I think all manufacturing communities have become aware of this, that there's a consumer demand for technology that considers, the broader social impacts and environmental impacts of what it does. So what SDVoE brings to the table is we're the only AV over IP platform that's built on an ASIC chip. Go check out the SDVoE Academy, and you can learn about exactly what's an ASIC, what's an FPGA, what's the difference.
I learned all about it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was fascinated.
But big picture, an FPGA is an extremely flexible device that can be programmed to do anything. The cost of that is it consumes a lot of power to give you that flexibility. An ASIC is a chip designed and built to do one job and one job only. So ours does SDVoE. And the advantage to that is huge power savings. I'm talking 75% power saved.
Well, hang on, pause for a second. Not just huge power savings in the device itself that you put the chip, but also in the production of it, is my understanding too.
Correct. It's a smaller device. It's gonna be less impactful as it's manufactured. But just let's not attach anybody's names to it. But big guys who produce big AV over IP systems they started out with encoders and decoders around 40 watts per box, and they've done some work over the past couple of years to whittle that down. They've got some smaller feature set devices, and they're in the like 25, 27 watt range for an encoder or decoder.
Yeah.
I've got boxes here on this shelf that are 7 watts.
Oh.
That's the kind of difference we're talking about. Now imagine we just did an install, IDK did an install at the European Parliament of over 1,000 endpoints. So let's multiply that 20 watt savings times 1,000 endpoints. That's 20 kilowatts that will be online 24 hours a day for the next 5 years, and we've saved that 20 kilowatts.
And just to pull on that a little bit further, what is the power availability of PoE?
That can vary, right? There's a few levels of PoE.
I'm just talking about straight up PoE.
But the most basic PoE 0 level is about 13.5 watts.
Okay.
So
PoE
yes,
plus?
we fit into that envelope.
Yeah.
PoE plus about doubles that to about 25 watts.
So you're looking at plus if you need something that's 40 watts.
You got it.
You guys have gotten it down to, you can just use a baseline
regular
PoE.
old 13 watt PoE.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is awesome.
Which has all those advantages that it comes with. I don't have to find a power location for this encoder or decoder. It's run back to the switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's sustainability, and then there's other points there too, right? Low power, heat translates directly into electronic failure over time. But also heat means you need a fan. These devices won't need a fan. A fan is usually a number one way that electronics fail. So these are going to be more reliable. They're going to be installed longer. And there you go, there's sustainability again. The less I have to replace them, that's less I have to manufacture, less I have to transport.
Yep.
It's just a better solution, and it's nice when the better solution for the customer is also the better solution for the environment, and you don't have to make that trade-off. Sometimes it's I can pay a little more, I can buy some carbon offsets and some NVX, but here I'm going to get a lower cost solution, I'm going to get a lower power solution, which benefits my design. And that's good for the world, right?
All right.
Let's talk about availability, which is the last thing in my list, but there's a good segue. This FPGA versus ASIC difference is important there too. FPGA is so flexible, it can be programmed to do anything. I don't mean anything in Pro AV, I mean anything in the world of electronics.
Cars, trucks.
Exactly. You hear about the automotive chip shortage. Mm-hmm. Well, those guys need FPGAs too. And guess when big AV manufacturers get in line for FPGAs and Ford and GM get in line for FPGAs, guess who gets to the front of the line? It's those industries that are orders of magnitude bigger than us that get to soak up the limited supply that there is. I've had some of our manufacturers complain to me because our older generation products are still based on an FPGA, those that haven't transitioned to the new chip yet. An FPGA that we used to regularly pay around $50 for. Now the manufacturer says a 52-week lead time. But there are, for those who don't play in this world, there are gray markets for microchips. And you can call a guy in Hong Kong who's got a stash, he's got a supply, and you meet him in a back alley and bring cash. It's not quite like that. Anyway, one of our members was calling me to complain because they couldn't get FPGAs in time from the manufacturer. They did find a supply on the gray market. A guy had 1,200 chips. How many do you want? They're $2,000 each.
Oh.
That's up from 50.
I can't do that math in my head.
It's a lot. That's what the math is. So Matt, how do you sustain a business if the cost goes like that?
You don't. Manufacturing.
You say, well, thank goodness there's an ASIC for for SDVoE, and move over to it.
All right, let's talk about flexible, and I'll let you get out of here.
Who said I'm letting you get out of here? Flexibility, that's what SDVoE has been from the start. That's what AV over IP is about. It's about the kind of scalability that Ethernet brings. But more than that, SDVoE, which is not just transport, right? SDVoE is also a video processing engine.
Yep.
And so we've got an API software layer that allows a user, a software engineer, a programmer, to control each of these endpoint devices, not only in terms of what signals are routed where, but how are we cropping the image, how are we scaling the image, are we compositing multiple images onto the same screen. So now, the way I lay it out is from a hardware perspective. Every SDVoE system is exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's an encoder for every source, there's a decoder for every display, there's a switch in the middle. That's it. How many encoders, how many decoders? That's the only question.
And really quickly, just so because one of the things that I've had conversations over the last 5 or 6 years is terminology in our wonderful industry.
Okay.
You have a switch, not a switcher, not a video switcher, not a matrix switcher. You have an honest-to-God IT switch.
Yes, and in our case,
that is the matrix.
A 10 gigabit Ethernet switch from an off-the-shelf Ethernet switch manufacturer. Netgear, one of our founding and steering members. They're one of our favorites, of course. But SDVoE will operate. He's a big part of the reason for that. Oh, Mr. President!
Hey,
that's what he calls me. I love him. But SDVoE will work on any 10 gigabit Ethernet switch from any manufacturer, and that again speaks to the interoperability, which is part of this flexibility. Any one of these manufacturers you see on the wall here has encoders and decoders that will work with anyone else on this wall, and that's guaranteed by the design of the SDVoE ecosystem, and guaranteed by this software API that sits over all of it and controls each of the endpoints regardless of who manufactured them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that interoperability has been the holy grail of AV for a very long time. There are a number of technologies that has tried. Some of them have been successful, right? But the fact that you guys are still able to maintain that interoperability is absolutely huge.
And again, that speaks to availability. Right?
And it also speaks to sustainability. Because if brand 1 goes out of business, or holy cow, then you can go to brand 2 or brand 3.
Right. It's not rip and replace anymore. It's expand intelligently as you need it.
Yep.
Knowing that whether you stick with the brand you bought in the first place, or you need to and decide to change, that option is always available to you.
All right, you want to end this, or you want me to, or how are we going to do this?
Should we try it together?
No, good Lord, no. You and I are not that much in sync. That's Justin Kennington. He's going to tell you where to find him.
Well, you can find SDVoE Alliance at sdvoe.org. Find us on Twitter at SDVoE. Find us on LinkedIn. Find us on YouTube, where you're also going to find this video, youtube.com/SDVoE Alliance. Don't forget to smash that like button.
And your guys' weekly program that I was able to be on with you guys virtually.
That is SDVoE Live every other Tuesday. Catch us on May 17th, if you're seeing this in time, for our ISE wrap-up, and on the May 31st for the finale of Season 2. 32 episodes of this thing we put together.
Any special guests?
Put together. We're still working on how we want to do that season finale, because I want to find a way to bring the sustainability conversation in. So I need to find just the right angle.
I think we should end it with a cliffhanger.
I think that's a great idea.
Remember Dallas, like Who Shot JR?
Yeah.
We should be Who Shot Justin. Matt, who shot Justin? Trust me.
Are you threatening me?
I'm not threatening. This is Tim Albright from AVNation. Go by our website, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv. Find more videos, not like this in any way, shape, or form, from the show floor of ISE 2022. All that and more at avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv.
Tim, thanks for joining us.
Come on! Go ahead.
Tim, thanks for joining us. How can people find you?
You can find me on AVNation's website, avnation.tv, on the Twitters, if you are so inclined, at TD Albright.
I thought it was at BearsFan.com.
That is also at BearsFan, yes. Sad Bears fan, which is redundant.
Well, thank you for joining us, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for watching.